listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Radio's authority on the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, celebrating 25 years of broadcasting. Broadcasting around the world and to the great beyond.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Robb McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Robb McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Robb McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Robb McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Robb McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Mutual Broadcast Network, the Talkstar Radio Network, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and in Europe on Radio X, as well as on the Digital Broadcast Network and Digital Satellite Network. We're going to Tennessee this hour, X-Zone Nation. We're going to be speaking with two investigators with the Paranormal Technology Investigations, and our two guests tonight are, Robb Phillips and his wife, Kathy Shepard, who are the two people behind this organization. And first of all, Robb and Kathy, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, could tell us a little bit about yourselves. What was it in each of your lives that pointed you in the direction to become Robb, in your case, a paranormal investigator, leaving being a preacher?
Well, the experiences that I had as a younger child, from starting at the age of 5, seeing things that you couldn't explain. I had encounter with what I believe to be, whether if it's not Satan himself, it was a very strong demon that had visited me 3 times in my house. I have seen full-bodied apparitions and just different things that you can't explain. And this went on probably until I was about 22 or 23. I got convicted to turn my life over to God. And few years later, I was called to preach, and after about 4 or 5 years of that, I kind of got out of church. Although I'm still very religious, I'm a full gospel minister, and the things that we practiced in that ministry, some of it included blessings and casting demons out of people. And my cousin had spotted an apparition one night in an old garage down in a little town called Johnson City in Tennessee. And he told me about it, and he said it was a little lady that was pointing her arm out and told him to leave. And so, curiosity, I decided to take one of those old-timey tape recorders and a 35-millimeter film camera, and me and him went down to the old garage and took some pictures and asked a few questions for the EVP session. We didn't see anything. We didn't capture anything on camera, but when we got back to the house and started going over the recorder, we captured the voice of a little woman that told us to get out. And from there, I was hooked. I started investigating by myself, going out to graveyards or any other haunted location I could find. And some of my friends found out what I was doing, and they started going with me. The word got out about it, and people started contacting us to come into their home and investigate their unexplained activity. And then we started realizing after about a year or so that these people, some of the people that we were investigating for had things that was disrupting their lives. And they were asking if there were anything they can do to help rid the activity. So I took basically the knowledge that I had from my ministry, being a Christian and Christian everything, and applied it to what I do. And we started doing conducting spiritual blessings and call it an exorcism if you want. We call it rebuking in the name of Jesus is what we call it. And that's basically what I've been doing ever since and how I got into it and why.
All right, stand by. When we come back from this 2-minute break, we'll be speaking with Kathy Shepard, and we're going to ask her what pointed her in the direction of her interest in the paranormal. Exonation, our guests tonight are both with the Paranormal Technology Investigations. We're speaking with Robb Phillips, who is the owner and lead investigator, and his wife, Kathy Shepard. Now, their website is www.ptitn.com. That's ptitn.com. And we'll all be back on the other side of this break as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And you know, Exonation, we're heard Monday through Friday right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network, the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, on the Digital Broadcast Network, this digital satellite network, and in Europe on Radio X. My name is Robb McConnell. This is the X Zone. Don't go away. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Wilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we will weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Wilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Starr began to demonstrate a metaphysical connection to the spirit world as a little girl. Her family noticed the connection, but it was a great-grandmother who told the family that Linnea was indeed gifted. The great-grandmother, who was also gifted, felt that Linnea had indeed inherited these attributes. It has been noticed that oftentimes such things are passed down through the generations. Linnea was also born with a caul, a thin white membrane across a newborn's face. Legend has it that if the baby is born with this caul, the child will have second sight, or what we call psychic abilities. Linnea Starr does past, present, and future, and has the gift of prophecy. It is written within scriptures that if you are able to give factual information, and prophecies indeed come true, the gift indeed comes from the divine realm. Linnea Starr does large interactive groups as well as private gatherings. For more information on Linnea Starr or to contact Linnea for a one-on-one consultation, visit her website at www.linneastar.com. That's www.linneastar.com. Welcome back, everyone. I'd just like to make a little correction here. Kathy Shepard is not married to Robb Phillips. Sorry about that, guys. But the way the information came back from your publicist, that's what kind of made it look like that. But anyway, everybody's here. We're going to be talking to Kathy now about her exploits in the paranormal. And Kathy, what was it that happened in your life that pointed you in the direction of becoming a paranormal investigator?
Mine happened when I was about 8 years old, and I lived in a home when in my bedroom I was experiencing some activity. I would see this thing come up to the side of the bed and float from the side to the bottom and back up again. And what was odd about it was everybody living in the home, I was the only one that knew that house was haunted. Nobody else would experience anything. And several things happened, after that. And my uncle passed away, and I had seen him walk through his kitchen, through the garage, and just seeing a lot of different things like that through the years just got me interested in knowing there's something else out there, and just trying to figure out what it is and why it's there.
Let me ask you this question, Robb. Why is it only some people can hear the paranormal or see spirits or have any kind of contact with them? And this doesn't matter whether it's a group of people who go into an allegedly haunted establishment. You're going to have people who see and hear something, and then you're going to hear people who were in the same group say, "What the hell are you talking about? I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything." Why? What, in your opinion, based on 17 years of paranormal investigator, do you attribute this to?
That's a very good question. It's a hard question to answer, and I have had an experience one time where there were 6 of us there, and only 2 of us seen a apparition.
Mm-hmm.
The other 4 people didn't see it, and they were asking that same question. What the hell are you all looking at? And they didn't see nothing, and we did. I think it has to do a lot with the person's sensibility, how open they are to it, and maybe it even has something to do with maybe that spirit's wanting to show a certain person or certain thing.
When
I
you
don't know if they're. I think a lot of people's just more open-minded.
So when you and the members of your group, the Paranormal Technology Investigations, go out and do an investigation, what are you trying to prove? What evidence are you trying to gather? And what are you going to do with that evidence if and when you ever gather it?
Well, what we usually do is when we go into an investigation, we're not trying to prove or disprove a haunting. We're basically trying to find out what type of haunting they have, if they have one at all. We need the evidence that we capture to help us determine what level of haunting that they're experiencing, if anything, because that helps us determine what needs to be done to help them remove this from their property. So we try to capture as much as possible. There has been times that we don't capture anything, and that doesn't mean they don't have a haunting. It just, or any type of activity. That just means we didn't capture it. Sometimes we have debunked everything and found out they didn't have anything, but the wind blowing and maybe the cat knocking something off of the table. But when we determine what level of haunting somebody has, that helps us know what needs to be done, whether it's a spiritual blessing, an exorcism on the home, or somebody needs to change something in their life, or just remove something from their house. There's different reasons. So that's what we use our evidence for, what that we capture, just to help us determine what we need to do about it.
And Kathy, what has been the most compelling evidence that you and the team have gathered over the years to prove that ghosts are real and it has nothing to do with psychosomatic psychoses?
I would probably say the recorders. We get the EVPs. Of course, we use the spirit box too, but when you get a voice come back over your recording and it's A1, it's not a spirit box, and it's no one in the room talking, then you know that it is a spirit in there with you, communicating.
So why do you think the spirits want to communicate with you?
We get a lot of EVPs that says, help me. Sometimes we get some that says gunshot. I think it's trapped spirits that didn't cross over or died unexpectedly, that's trapped. They're trying to communicate. They need help. They don't know what to do, and they're just there, stuck.
But why would they wait for ghost investigators or paranormal investigators to come into a location to do an investigation instead of going to a place where they can get the help that they're seeking? For example, a church, a member of the clergy. Why stick around, haunt a place, and hope to heck that somebody's going to come along who can basically use technology to find out what you really want?
Okay, Rob can answer that better.
Personally, I think once a spirit realizes that you can hear them and you can see them and you can interact with them, I think that is, once they start becoming active and wanting to communicate, I think they would actually communicate with whoever could, who would ever have that ability. I don't think they really wait. I don't think there's a time that they have. I don't think that they, what's 100 years to us could maybe be a second to them. And, I think, if it's what type of spirit that it is, maybe it's an intelligent spirit or maybe it's demonic. There might be different reasons for different things. Maybe there's something about somebody that they're attracted to, that they feel comfortable with.
So how do you help a spirit to cross over to the other side, to get where he is going? And if you use your abilities or your past connection with the church, what happens if the spirit that you're trying to get rid of doesn't believe in your Jesus, doesn't believe in the power of your church? What happens then?
We we've had that, and that's like I was saying earlier. A lot of times it's not always just about doing a blessing. When we do a blessing, usually what that does, it just removes anything negative off of the property. Then we'll do after that we'll do what is called a crossover, and that just removes. Or don't remove anything. It just gives the good spirits there the options of crossing over to their final resting place. We have had times that the blessings doesn't work. They don't believe in heaven or whatever, and they just linger around or go somewhere else. You can't really banish anything, but you can make them feel uncomfortable enough in that place to where they don't want to be there no more. And I personally think once my religion, the way I believe, somebody's probably going to think something totally different, that once they do die and they realize what's on the other side, maybe they're afraid to cross over.
Why would they be afraid?
Maybe they're afraid they're going to spend their final eternity.
Well, as a religious man, I'm sure you understand
Exactly.
there's no such thing as hell. So what would they have to worry about, especially since the Bible teaches that all is forgiven?
Well, is all forgiven. We have a choice to be living for God or living for Satan.
Well,
and a lot of people don't believe in either one.
So tell me,
and then I guess that's their decision, their choice, and whatever happens. We don't really know what happens to the souls when we die.
Well,
and I really want to find out, but I don't want to go off on the next bus load just to get that answer. I'd rather wait my time and then go then and figure it out. But my experience might be totally different than Kathy's side of me or yours. It might be something totally different.
All right, so let me just put a few things in order that make it very confusing for me to understand what the problem is with these ghosts. Number one, if you're a Christian, you believe that Christ died for your sins. Number one, so when you die, there are no sins. You just go to heaven. Number two, the aspect of hell is nowhere in the Bible. It's a man-made concoction because we are a binary species. There is 0 and 1, up, down, left, right, in, out. So if there's good, there has to be evil. Okay?
Right.
And if you're able to talk to all these spirits or have communications, either using EVPs or the ghost box, why don't these spirits tell you the answers to questions that you're seeking?
I'd love to get that. I'd love to have that ultimate EVP. We know somebody that captured an EVP, and we've captured several similar EVPs, but we know a friend that captured one here recently that says he's begging God to let him in and not to make him go. And then you hear a demonic, well, I don't want to call it demonic, but you hear a very evil-sounding laughter after he asked that question. We have had, during the crossover, we have said, you will see a light, just go towards the light and don't look back. And you hear a little girl's voice, being no kids are in the home, that you'd hear a little girl's voice say, I see that light. And then I've had EVPs in the past that has said they don't see a light, they don't see a hell, they don't see a heaven. So who knows? But I'd like to have that ultimate answer.
Why is there so much credibility put into EVPs?
I think it's because that when say you're alone by yourself and you know nobody else is in the home, there's no radio, no TV or nothing on, and you're sitting there and you're doing an EVP session, and you capture a voice that isn't yours or around. How do you explain that? That to hear a voice that you can't explain where it came from. I think the most credibility that I give to any equipment that we have is that it's inside of us, what we feel while we're investigating, what we experience personally.
So why use equipment then if everything that you need to do an investigation or to find the answers is within you?
To help document and record the evidence needed.
I see. We have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Exonation, are you believers or skeptics? Send me an email, exone@exoneradiotv.com. We're talking to Robb Phillips and Kathy Shepard. They are with Paranormal Technology Investigations in Tennessee. Their website is www.ptitn.com. That's ptitn.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money in abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. Thomas Jefferson was a Burgess of 27 when he met Martha Wales Skelton, a 22-year-old widowed heiress who was fondly called Patty by her family. They were married on January the 1st, 1772, and they took up residence in a cabin on the building site on top of a Virginia mountain that Thomas had named Monticello. As Thomas and Patty slowly built their first version of the great house at Monticello, the Revolutionary War was heating up. Patty, with difficulty, bore 5 children, but only 2 girls survived. Thomas's political career developed to the point where he was often away from home, but after he authored and signed the Declaration of Independence in Philadelphia, he resolved never again to leave his wife. He was elected the governor of Virginia, just as that state became the Revolution's last battleground. The Revolutionary War ended in 1781, and Thomas gladly retired altogether to my family, my farm, and my books. But Patty continued to want to bear her treasured husband a son, and late in the summer of 1782, she died of kidney failure at the age of 33, 4 months after having borne yet another girl. Thomas was so devastated by her death that he never remarried. He mourned her for the rest of his life, even as he helped to frame the peace in France and then became the first Secretary of State, the second Vice President, and the third President of the United States. This story is true. Thomas Jefferson was such an obsessive letter writer and record keeper that we know where he was and what he was doing nearly every day of his adult life. Every significant thing he says in My Thomas comes from his contemporary writings. My Thomas by Roberta Grimes is now available at Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, Books A Million, Hudson Booksellers, Kmart, Walmart, Sam's Club, Walgreens, CVS, and online at Amazon.com. You can visit Roberta Grimes online at www.robertagrimes.com.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school, training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerrean intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Robb and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com. You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Annie Callahan, dedicated to negotiating a position for Earth within the Daguerrean Coalition, had trained for 3 years to become an Earth ambassador. Yet, the very eve of her arrival at the capital ruling planet, she is claimed as destined mate to an oversized, mating-maddened vamp who swears he will never release her. Lord Aztaran, king of the Macian sector, has waited over 900 years for his destined mate. Having found her as an alpha vamp, he is unable to relinquish Annie, virtually holding her hostage until he can claim her. Yet Macians cannot survive without their mate's love. How could he strip her of her citizenship, her ambassadorship, and her freedom and expect to win her heart? With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is the latest book in this exciting series, The Daguerrean Chronicles, guaranteed to keep readers coming back for more. With All That I Am by Kahira O'Donnell is available on Amazon.com and KahiraO'Donnell.com. Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. We're speaking to Robb Phillips and Kathy Shepard. They are with Paranormal Technology Investigations in East Tennessee. Their website is www.ptitn.com. That's www.ptitn.com. They're also available on Twitter and Facebook. What is the scariest case, Robb, that you have ever worked on?
The one that I have ever worked on. Oh man, that's a tough one. There's actually several that probably just kind of fall in the same category. there was one I had years ago to where I think the girl was 18 or 19 years old. It was her first apartment, and she had these little teenage boyfriends running around with her, living there. And one of the boys had died in a car wreck. They tried to bring his spirit back, and they done some kind of rituals. I don't know exactly what they done, but they conjured up something that they couldn't control, and they were being physically and mentally attacked. They were being beaten by this thing. Things were moving across the house and then slung at them. And I think that was probably one of the most hardest cases I ever done, the most scariest. And then maybe a couple here recently that where I got physically attacked. One of them put a couple of scratches on my back, and I was showed things that I'd rather not have seen. I was made to feel things that I would rather not feel, and see things that I don't want to know. And then the last investigation that we had, I was scratched again from my back all the way around to my front side, and it basically knocked me down to the floor. And I was very dizzy, lightheaded. They took two pictures. One picture, before all this happened, I looked fine, but in the picture where I was being attacked, I looked like I aged about 25 years.
Why were you attacked?
I'm sorry?
Why were you attacked?
I don't know. I have no idea. I wasn't. When we investigate, we don't do anything to provoke or antagonize. We don't try to summons or conjure anything. We don't try to disrespect nothing. We ask simple questions, and we try to gain a little bit of trust, if you call it. And I don't know why I was attacked. I think maybe because whatever was in that home did not want maybe me or us in there, because there were three of us attacked that night.
When does the line get crossed when researchers go to a place and start investigating those who have passed? Where does the line exist between respect and disrespect?
I take what I do very serious, and when people start disrespecting, if it's a human spirit, that's probably somebody's grandmother or mother or brother, and if you start cussing it out and just insulting it, that's a line you shouldn't cross. You should respect what you're communicating with, because that was somebody's loved one. And if there is a such thing as a demon, and you're provoking that or disrespecting that, that's just stupid. And when you're doing an EVP session and you're trying to investigate, if you stick with simple questions, respectful questions, the line crosses when you start insulting and provoking.
But what about a line of respect for those who have passed on? Like, I've been talking to ghost investigators over the past 2 months now. We know that there is over 16,000 groups in the United States alone. No group to this point has found unequivocal evidence that there is any connection between what they believe to be spirits and actuality of the spirit world being there. We do know one thing, that it raises a lot of interest.
Yes.
And once again, whether you're in a graveyard, which I don't believe any investigator should be allowed within the graveyard limits, because to me that's sacrilege, or whether they're going into a home to try and find out what the spirit is, why don't we just leave the dead alone?
I'll answer that.
Sure, go ahead.
We never contact anybody to ask if we can investigate their home. Everybody contacts us that we investigate for.
Oh, okay, but Sid, but my question was basically, it has nothing to do with. I understand where you're coming from. That it's the people who call you to investigate their homes, but why do we need to investigate death? Isn't that a little morbid, especially when we use it for newspaper headlines or for television reality shows that are anything but reality shows. When is enough enough?
Well, like I said, when we go into a home, people want to know what's in their home. They're hearing things going on in their home, and so when they need help, who do they contact for help? A lot of them.
How about a psychiatrist? How about a psychologist?
There.
What about a city engineer? What about a member of the clergy?
That's what she's saying. A lot of people we investigate for have been to priests or preachers and other people, and they've been denied and turned down. Telling them maybe they just need to get their life right or things like that.
So
I'm not knocking any religion or anything, but when somebody in their home, their life's being uprooted by something in their home, and it's destroying their family, destroying their lives, and they need somebody to turn to. People like us that get out here to help people, and that's why we're in this field. They call upon us, and that's why we investigate it. We don't go out here just to disturb the dead or disrespect or anything like that. We're doing it to try to find out what's in their home so we can help this family to get their lives back together.
Oh, okay, I understand that, but what qualifies a paranormal investigator? And I will say that 99.999% of so-called paranormal investigators wouldn't know an investigation if they fell across it. So what gives them the authority to go in and play ghost hunter?
What gives them the authority?
Yeah, I mean, besides the person who makes the invite to the paranormal group to come in and to set up their cameras and to walk around with EMF meters and tape recorders and so on. Let me just rephrase this. Let me just rephrase that. What experience or what education, when it comes to claiming to be an investigator, do the majority of ghost investigators, paranormal researchers, really have besides what they've read on the internet?
We'll say this: there is no such thing as being certified in the paranormal.
Right.
If anybody says they can certify you in the paranormal, they're a liar.
No, you're wrong, sir. You're wrong, sir. You're wrong, sir. There are universities that offer degrees in parapsychology.
You can be certified in certain things, but in order to be certified in something, somebody have to know everything about that. You can be certified to investigate something, but how can you be certified in knowing something about that we know nothing about? We know nothing about the other side. How can you be certified in that?
Well, there are universities that offer
that
parapsychology courses.
They teach certain things, but they can't certify you to be a paranormal investigator.
I understand.
They can teach you about certain things.
All right.
You can get an education in that, but how can you be certified in it?
Okay, well, what I would like to see, as being somebody on the outside, is that people who claim to be paranormal investigators have some knowledge of psychology, physiology, because God forbid, based on the recommendations and the conclusions that paranormal groups make to these people, what happens if they do more harm psychologically to these people than good?
Yep, and we run across that a lot. We've had a lot of families contact us because they've had so-called teams come into their home that's in there that don't know the first thing about none of this, and they cause more problems than they did to begin with. We were sent to Alaska by a family who had a team up there come in and caused so many problems. It was just unreal. They flew us to Alaska to help them because we're qualified in what we do. We're very professional in what we do. Each one of us has something to bring to the table, whether it's a preacher, religion, education, or whatever it is. We're doing this because we have knowledge in it. We're not out here just trying to get evidence and think it's a funny game, because it's not.
All right, you said you're qualified and professionals. What are the qualifications that you as a team bring to the plate when you go to investigate some aspect of the paranormal?
A lot of experience. Things that I myself personally that I encountered as a minister, seeing the possessed come in, seeing things that you can't explain. haven't experienced in that. I'm educated in that. We have people that on our team that's very educated through college in things in the field, and then we have people that are very sensitive on our team as well.
Are you talking about psychics?
More empathics.
Okay.
They sense a lot of things, and they can see things that other people can't, and they can feel things that
Other people can't.
That you use like a sixth sense, I guess you'd call it.
You were saying earlier, Rob, that when you were attacked by these entities, that you were showing things.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of things were you showing?
As far as showing things, I mean, it was how I appeared in these pictures. The first picture, it was a normal picture of me. I looked like myself. And during this attack in the picture, it looked like I had aged 25 years. It just looked like I was on the edge of death, basically. It's a very interesting set of pictures.
So why?
And then they had the evidence of the scratches.
Yeah. So why do you think you were shown these pictures, and how did the spirits manipulate these into photographs that are seen in the future? So how did they take a picture of something that was in the future?
It was my team member that took the pictures.
All right.
Of me.
Okay. So
and they're actually on Twitter, on our Twitter page, if anybody wanted to go see that, actually. But it was our team members that took the pictures, during the investigation. I was in the pictures when they were being taken.
So how do you think this happened?
I just think whatever was in that home did not want me there.
No.
I don't know for what reason. Maybe because I'm a man. I have no idea. Maybe it was because of my religion. Maybe it knew what my plans were in the future to remove it, or try to remove it from the property, which I don't do that. God does that. I'm just a willing vessel.
I see. By the way, a question I love asking members of the clergy who are ministers. So what seminary did you go to?
I actually was called to preach, and I went under Victory for Today, Victory Tabernacle, with Pastor Terry Phillips. I stood under his ministry.
I see. So you yourself didn't go to a seminary?
No, sir.
Okay, gotcha. Where do you think paranormal investigation will be in 5 years from now?
I hope if it continues, I hope people that's in this field become more professional, and I hope they do it in a more respectful way, and they do it for the right reasons.
So why do you think after all these years of paranormal investigations and over 16,000 different groups in the United States with people still coming into the fold each and every day, what is the draw?
What is the draw? I'm not understanding the question.
Why do people like investigating the paranormal?
I think most of them get into it just for the thrill of the hunt. If they see it on TV, they make it look fun and interesting.
Yeah, but
they don't realize how serious it is.
But isn't that disrespectful? Coming in, doing it for the fun, doing it for the hunt.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. Yes, it is. It is very disrespectful. And we have a few shows out on national television, and we didn't allow those to air just to show off and show hey, we're on TV. We did that so people can see that there is actually somebody out there that cares, and people out there that will help you. And we are one of those teams that are in it for the right reason.
And what is the right reason?
To help the families that's their lives being uprooted and destroyed by these things and that they can't explain in their home. And whether it's some type of a demonic or human spirit that's just uprooting their lives. We're trying to help them get their lives back together. And when we go to help somebody, it's not just always about paranormal. We try to do things just to actually help improve them, improve their thoughts, the way of thinking, and, think more positive about things in life and not be so negative and do what we can to help them.
But do you ever cross the line between being a paranormal investigator and crossing the line into being a psychologist?
I don't think we do, no.
Have you ever had an occasion where you thought you were doing something right, but it turned out to be very wrong?
I've probably made a mistake before. I mean, I'm not perfect.
Sure.
I don't know anybody that is. And, I probably can't think something off the top of my head, but
Sure.
I've been wrong
Yeah.
before. I've missed something recently that I thought I was for sure that was one thing. It turned out to be something else. None of us are perfect.
Yep.
We have a member on our team who's going to school to be a psychologist, and she tries to coach us and help us along, and she takes lead where need be.
Mm-hmm.
But none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes.
How many members are there of the paranormal technology investigations?
We have 6.
Wow, and I understand. And I understand that your team has conducted over 200 investigations.
Correct.
This is a lot
about 17 years.
Wow. So there's a lot of paranormal activity going on. Is paranormal activity on the increase?
That's odd. Sometimes we investigate things and we find out there's nothing there at all.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we find out that they might be a little schizophrenic. We've come across that. I feel like paranormal is on the increase. I think it might not be on the increase. I think it might be the same as it's always been. I just think people are actually more opening up to it more now than they were in the past. Because in the past, if you talked about it, you was the laughing stock of the neighborhood. Now, people are more open about it,
right.
And I think it's just the same. I think people are just more open about it.
All right, stand by. We've got to take our final break. X-Zone Nation, Rob Phillips and Kathy Shepard are our guests this hour. They're with the Paranormal Technology Investigations in East Tennessee. Their website is www.ptitn.com. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. If you enjoy reading a good mystery with a touch of the paranormal, then you'll love From Out of the Woodwork by William S. Peckham. Sean Kennedy, a Toronto contractor, buys derelict houses, guts them, and turns them into multifamily dwellings. When Sean buys 29 Livery Lane, a century house in ruins, and starts the renovation, the house fights back. He is visited by ghosts of owners past. His visions are triggered by touching an oak mantle, reading a faded letter, opening an old locket, or opening a brand new casket in the basement. These visions will take you on a trip across southern Ontario from Niagara Falls to Toronto to Kingston. From Out of the Woodwork is now available in paperback and on your favorite electronic reader. To order your copy of From Out of the Woodwork, go to www.williamspeckham.com. That's www.williamspeckham.com.
Robb Phillips and Kathy Shepard are our guests. They're with Paranormal Technology Investigations in East Tennessee. Their website is ptitn.com. And Robb, why do you call yourselves Paranormal Technology Investigations?
Kathy actually came up with that name. I think it kind of fits us because we don't, we use technology when we go into investigate. We don't basically carry a line of equipment, even though we sell different types of, ghost hunting equipment and blessing supplies and things. We use technology when we investigate.
I'm sorry, did you say you sell ghost equipment?
We do.
So you go out, you do an investigation, but you also sell the equipment?
We sell certain lines. We'll sell thermal imaging cameras, digital voice recorders, and then blessing supplies.
Do you, or should I say, do paranormal investigators and other investigation teams, do people share information that you discovered during investigations?
There's not really with other teams. There's a lot of other teams that we don't trust. There's some teams that we do trust. Like we said earlier, some teams are in it for the thrill of the hunt. I'm not going to share anything with them. With the teams that we do trust, that's in it for the same reason. We have sister teams. Yes, we share information to try to come up with the best answers and solutions.
Robb, what are your final thoughts and your final words for the X-Zone Nation tonight?
My final thoughts would be to anybody who's thinking about getting into this field, it's not cut out for everybody. And if you are going to get into the field, please do it for the right reasons.
And the right reasons being?
To help people is my opinion, to help people. Don't go out here just for the thrill of the hunt and disrespect. If you're going to do it, be very respectable. Be respectable to the spirits and to the people that you're helping.
Now, do you do investigations by phone as well, or only in person?
You can we can do we've helped people over the phone before. We can do an EVP session over the phone. I don't give a lot of credibility to them because I can't see what's in the other room, but a spirit's voice can travel over the same frequency as a cell phone or a cordless phone, AM radio. You can do an EVP session over the phone, and we've helped people over the phone. But in order to conduct a full investigation and get more of an accurate reading of what you believe is accurate, I believe it needs to be in person.
Do you people charge people for the work you do?
No, sir. We don't charge a dime.
Robb?
If they want to give a donation, that's fine, but we do not ask for a penny.
All right, Robb and Kathy, I want to thank you so much for joining us. X-Zone Nation, our two guests this hour have been Robb Phillips and Kathy Shepard. They're with Paranormal Technology Investigations, and not only are they paranormal investigators, but they also sell paranormal equipment. I don't know how that sits with me. Wait a minute, yes I do. Not in a good way. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Should people be allowed to call themselves ministers or preachers if they do not go to a seminary? I personally think that each and every one of these online rip-off centers should be shut down. And there should be stringent laws when it comes to calling yourself a minister or impersonating a member of the clergy. And I really think there should be rules and regulations set forth for these paranormal investigators. After all, if you're a private investigator, you need a license. You're governed by the state. This is what needs to happen when it comes to Ghostbusters. I'll be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.